So we'll figure that one out next year. I'm Ross Davies. I'm your fill-in host, day host here this morning. Fortunately, Dave had a family emergency. He had to go elsewhere. So this session is funny. When we started programming our meetings, going back way in October, we started this whole process with our committees about, what are the areas that we want to touch on. And it's everything from digital to business. But programming is really important. And when we talked about, one of the things that our industry needs to deal with is youth radio. How do we keep people coming into the tent and things like that? So with Nick's help, we put together this session called Youth Radio, How to Do Top 40 in 2025, which I think is really so bloody relevant for our industry right now. We're lucky to have Sarah here, the award-winning Sarah Cummings from Bell Media. I remember Sarah when she worked down in the Golden Horseshoe for us in St. Catharines at Standard Radio and things like that. She's come a long way, and boy, she's really earned it too. And then we're lucky to have, thanks to Sean Ross, who told Nick and I, said, you got to get this guy from San Francisco. He's doing some crazy good things out there. Jazzy Jim Archer has made it all the way from San Francisco to talk about that. So, to get things rolling, my buddy from London, here's Nick Goodman.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, hello. There we go. You're right about the 9 a.m. start, especially after a big hockey game, as I know now it's called, and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, people don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. And if you're here, it's probably because you believe Top 40 radio still matters, not just as a format, but as a cultural force as well. And we know the playbook is changing and the music cycle's on warp speed and the algorithms are shaping taste, and Gen Z can spot inauthenticity a mile away. And listening habits are changing too. When I was program director of the big Top 40 station in London in the UK, Capital FM, people were listening for about an hour a day. This is about 20 years ago. Now it's half that time. So the world of youth radio is more challenging for operators than it's ever been. But there is good news. Young people still love music. They also still want to feel seen. They want to feel heard. They want to be entertained. But they tune in for why we do this as well. The passion, the relevance, the connection. It's not just about the songs. So this session is about looking at what Top 40 sounds like in 2025, how we bring back that feeling of must-listen pop radio without sounding like we're trying too hard, and you'll hear from people who are doing it right now. So we're going to have a couple of presentations. This is how it's going to work. A couple of presentations. Then we're going to have a chat, and then we're going to open it up for you guys as well, because the questions are always really, really interesting, and so we want you to get involved. So first up, please welcome to the podium, the big long walk to the podium, Sarah Cummings.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so I am going to talk a little, and then I'm going to play a video, because that will do a better job than I can do. But before I start, I just want to say I am here representing Virgin specifically today, but in the room we have the people that actually make it work on a day-to-day basis. So just a shout out to Sarah Christie, who's our National Music Director. Thank you for being here. I may default to you for some questions. Amanda Cacciatore, who put this whole thing together. So she's really the one that should be up here. And in the room, so we have 11 Virgin radio stations across Canada. In Canada, they are all top 40 radio stations. So that's what we're here to chat about today. Karen Steele, who is in the room, who's our program director for Virgin Radio Toronto. Chad Martin, who programs our Calgary radio station. Brad Gibb, who has 3 Virgin radio stations in southwestern Ontario. So they're the ones that do the day-to-day work. I'm just here to represent. So we'll get started. And just to kind of, start, what is Virgin Radio? So, with music obviously not being the only magnet anymore, so many audio choices, it's, we have to do more than we've ever had to do before, and we have to be everywhere. So we're going to chat a lot about Virgin today, but iHeart Canada is also part of our, the foundation of a lot of what we do, because it's about being available for people everywhere they could possibly want to listen, on demand, wherever they are, wherever they're going for their day. So wanted to, say that's one of the backbone for us is how do we make sure anytime you want to listen to radio, you want to engage with the audience, you want to engage with the talent that are there, it's available and easily accessed. Our brand awareness and connection to our listeners, interviews, imaging, contests, content. Everything you're about to see is what builds the loyalty of the listeners. And I'm going to get into that with the captivating talent that we have on the station. And what our talent does in between the music is more important than ever before. Some examples here, what we, getting out, being entertaining, inspirational, authentic, attuned to what our young listeners care about. Off air is just as important as on the air. And when they go to events and local activations and social media, you can see here, getting out into schools. We were chatting about this before because I know Jazzy's going to talk more about it too, but this is something that, getting in front of the youth audience. The station may not be programmed for 12, we don't look at 12 to 18 when we're programming the radio station, but getting in front of that audience and building brand awareness and loyalty young is a huge part of what we do. And having hosts that can connect with that group of people is something that's really, really important to us. So, our talent are encouraging listeners to come back, to check out what's new, what's going on, and being creative and entertaining as they do it. The music our listeners love. It may not be the main magnet as it once was, but it's crucial to what we do in our core brand. And we do a lot of research. Kevin and Hal, shout out. And we see constantly, we always see that being the first place that people discover a new song, their new favorite song, is important. It may not be the only place like it once was, but it's still a huge attractor for the brand and still comes back. And that's with 18 to 34-year-olds. So it's something that we put a lot of focus on. You can world premieres, being the connection, connecting listeners to their favorite artists. That's a lot of what we do. Surprising moments, access to artists. That's the kind of thing that's really important to us, and having the fans along, with our talent the whole way. Meeting audiences where they are. We talked a little bit about this as well. Important for us to, foster a sense of community with our listeners. Connecting them to the moment, the city, the concert that's in town, whatever it's about, being a shared experience and a sense of belonging as part of our Virgin family. We meet audiences wherever they are, talk about the things that they're talking about. You can see here, just a few examples. Shannon Burns, who's our national midday host, also here in the, so she hosts middays for all of our Virgin stations at a red carpet event. Our local morning shows out hosting, Pink Pony Club, Holly and Nira, who are Virgin Vancouver morning show, Swift Race, so getting out and getting active within their communities. Larger than life contests. Contests are a huge part of what we do. We were talking about this before. It's not all of what we do. I think programmers in the room probably, we get a little, equally amount strategic in how we do our contesting, but at the same time can be frustrating when you see that that's such a, the thing that can move a meter in some moments. So we try and embrace it and make it really stand for the brand, making a lot of noise around our contests, making life-changing opportunities, giving away prizes that will literally you'll hear it in a second, make people cry, change their life, $100,000 contests, joining the Virgin Radio team on a Virgin Voyage cruise. It's a really huge part of what we do. Chance to get up close and personal with artists and that sort of thing. And changing radio for good. So this is a pillar of Virgin International and a big part of what we do. And there's a lot of examples, but it's important to us. Believe it's very important to the youth audience and the younger audience. It's improving health, reducing inequalities, protecting the planet. Some examples here of some of the things that we've done. One of the most recent ones was the Virgin Radio Earth Day party, which you'll hear a little bit more about in the video as well. But we created a podcast, so on-demand content, teaching our audience in a way that's fun and enjoyable and bringing the artists into it as well. And that was a campaign that was in support of WWF Canada. It ran across the entire country, across all of our Virgin stations. Locally, everyone got involved. Nationally, there was a lot of commitment to it as well. So it's a huge part of what we do. And before I keep talking and run out of time, I'm going to play a quick video for everybody and then pass it over to Jazzy. Could you guys cue the video?
It's Jeff KP and Backstage Ben in the morning.
Let me rephrase that. You have raised so much food. The donations that are coming in, unbelievable.
There's a lineup around the block. Text us with your name, your crush's phone number, and a little backstory, and you could be asking them out live on the air.
What instrument is that?
It sounds like a recorder.
Nabil, congratulations, you're correct.
Wow!
You're going to go out on the street at Richmond and Duncan, go up to the cars and see if they want a glizzy.
You're going to turn it to 99.9 Virgin Radio.
Oh my bro, that's insane.
you so much for coming.
Thank you, Shannon.
Always a pleasure.
Never a chore.
Best friends. Hell yeah.
Come on now.
Love it.
Most likely to have one too many drinks while you're out on the town.
I have no idea, like, even how to start. Like, I don't even know I don't even think I've ever gone to my first race.
Taylor Swift is coming to Canada so soon, and you still don't have tickets. So let me break down how you can win tickets for you and 3 of your friends.
So what are your thoughts on Ed Sheeran for the Super Bowl? Because Ed Sheeran has some thoughts. He's like, no, I don't have enough pizzazz.
Do you think you're the best looking girls in this place? Hell yeah! Yeah!
We want the Stanley Cup, cup, cup. We want the Stanley Cup, cup, cup.
Are we most excited to see tonight?
Maxwell and Jasmine, $100,000.
Oh my God, thank you so much. This is like the greatest news we've ever heard. I can't believe it. We don't even know what to do now.
Virgin Radio wants to take your debt and destroy it. Your chance to win $100,000. 5K a day is back on Virgin Radio. Listen for your chance to win $10,000.
Angela, you have won a free Caribbean cruise for 2 on the Virgin Voyages cruise line.
Oh my God, are you serious?
So serious.
Ahoy! It's Captain Miles on board the Valiant Lady Virgin Voyages cruise ship here in the Caribbean, and here are my top 5 things to do on board. Let's go. Kristen,
Oh my God!
you're going to see Taylor Swift live on the Eras Tour.
Oh my goodness! This is a dream come true. This is unbelievable. Someone pinched me. I can't believe this.
And welcome back to another week of KP's Rescue 975. This is Piper and Lola. They are looking for the perfect rubber family for them to just live out their golden years.
Everyone who brought in over 100 pounds of food was entered to win $1,000. And Geneva, you won $1,000.
It's Peter Cash and Jenna Winterburn on Earth Day.
Really good. It's the first time I've seen a radio station do an invasive species removal, which, I mean, that's got to be a first, right? That's the key to success. I got loads of questions on that, which is brilliant. Jazzy, you're up next. So give Jazzy a round of applause as he makes his way all the way across for the podium. And if you click on the old green clicker, you should be on. Great.
Good morning, everybody. Jazzy from San Francisco. I've been in San Francisco my whole life. The Bay Area, I started as a radio fan about 6 years old, recording radio stations on 2 tape decks, putting them together, recreating a station that I heard in my head. Heard a lot of great radio, in my opinion. And when I worked my way into radio from being a DJ, I used to do mix shows, DJ battles, clubs, etc. You know, the magic of being able to affect people's lives is really what's drawn me in and kept me there. You know, the radio that I hear in my head, and I think it's really important to start with what's your vision? What are you providing? Why will somebody give you their attention, and how will you make sure that you create value from that attention? You know, the why is so important. All the sizzles, that's gonna come later, but really be thinking hard about, you know, what we're providing, and put it in the context of the listener, not from the programmer. So the main thing I like to do is I like to build aspirations. And that's not only through contest, but just doing things that people want to be a part of. It might be, you know, getting their voice on the radio. There's people out there that want that. And when people tell me that, oh, there's people don't listen to radio, or your audience is smaller, or there's not the same type of pizzazz that there once was, I say, yeah, the audience is smaller. We used to have a monopoly of listeners of media. If you wanted media, you had to listen to radio in a car or listen to the 5 cassettes that you had. But now we have choices. And the way that I see it is the people that are left are the people who want to be here. So no longer should we program to the lowest common denominator. No longer should we program to the masses. That's not who's there. We're talking to specific people with a specific psychographic. And so when you keep that in mind, you give yourself a lot more freedom to say the details matter, because those people are listening closely. Those listeners, when you do it right, they know more about your radio station than your salespeople do, much more. And so really try, as you're programming radio, to build those aspirational moments. I know there's lots of words on here, but I'm going to move forward. The one thing I believe in tremendously is I start young. I think about where someone's first going to be exposed to my radio station. That's usually from my morning show, Big Bay Mornings. The kids are in the back, and they're listening along. They're watching their parents laugh or make comments to it. There's different elements in the show that are good for the kids. There's a trivia game, which everyone's familiar with, that we do, but I'm very conscious as we curate the questions to appeal. You know, all the questions that I have is a 5th grader should be able to answer the questions, but the spectrum of the questions is wide. So there's going to be questions that the kids know right away. There's going to be questions that the moms know that the dads don't. There's going to be questions that the dads know, and I think it really gets their imagination going. Through the execution of that particular bit on the radio, what I see is the parents are so excited about seeing their kids in the back. They're filming their kids. They're putting it on social media saying, oh my God, my son, my daughter's loving this segment. And that's, in my opinion, it's really rare. And the one thing I do as a programmer, I'm always looking for moments of rareness, things that you don't see every day or things that other people tell me don't happen. When I find those moments, I lean in and I double down. So when you're talking about, you know, building your radio station, always think about aspiration. Know that the people you're talking to will want to participate, and if they're not, adjust your message or stay consistent until they do. So one of the things that we do is we host middle school tours. We probably do about 20 per year. The middle schools sign up, and we schedule them in. We visit the campuses. If they want to schedule us for a lunchtime, we visit them. Again, we leave them with collateral. We leave them with stickers like this. These stickers don't only have my radio station. They say Rep the Bay, Bay Area, Big Bay Morning. So when I'm trying to get my radio station out there, I'm also trying to think of not just promoting me, but also instill pride in the community. After the middle school, I have a program that I just really love. It's called High School Takeover. High School Takeover starts in June, where we're sending the email invitations to all the schools, the student leadership, and then on air the promos are running. Nominate your high school through social media, through DMs, and then we're monitoring that through the summer. And about August, we start selecting the schools. We do 1 school per week for the whole school year, and during that program, the cool thing about it is the Friday of each week, we visit the campus, we bring a DJ, we bring local artists and also emerging artists. We also make a splash, we do dance contests, we do parties out there. We make a big impact. So the radio station, if they didn't know about us or if they didn't know what to think of 99.7 before we went, when we're done, we walk away and we like, that's a lot cooler than I thought. And every time I approach my process, that's the answer that I want. I start with what I want, and then I go backwards to figure out the process that I need. And so when you get kids that are 13, 14, 15, they're haters, we all know that. You get them to walk away and go, hey, you know what? That's cool. I'm not delusional. We can't be like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. No, we start with the high schools. If this is better than I thought, then I bring them in little by little. And then after the rally, the students come, about 15 students go to the radio station studio. They take over. They send me their playlist. I look at their playlist. I play as much as I can. I try to make it make sense. And it's really unique. And it's the students host the breaks with the night show host, Big Reed. And it's just magical. Again, these are moments that last forever. students are emailing me all the time, hey, I got into UC Berkeley. I used the audio that when I was on the air at the high school takeover. Hey, I used this for this. Again, and when you touch a child, you're not touching the one child. Oh, it's only 15 people. Each person, think about that network. It's up to 120 per person of, the schools, the teachers, the church, you name it, sports organizations. So I really love the high school takeover program. It really does the job of making us relevant in those students' minds. And again, that's my goal at that step. Can we become relevant? Can we become a legitimate choice? Has nothing to do with the music at that point other than just playing the right music. It's not that hard. There's enough information today where you can play the right music. Okay, it's high school. The next thing that I like to do for the youth is artist investment. You have to invest in the artist. You have to invest in the artist before they're big, before everyone knows who they are. If you don't, they're not going to invest in you. Anything that you get will be just business. It's going to be shallow. It's not going to resonate with the target that you want. The target that I always want is the most passionate listener. I want someone who's going to consume me, who's going to be consumed with knowing what comes next. And then they're going to go and talk about me to their friends, to their family, to their circles. That's what drives radio. We all know that. PPM, the strongest. To survive, you need the super P1s. We need that. You don't have that, you're going to die, or you're going to be up and down all over the place. Super P1s keep you going. The other thing about the artist investments is be thoughtful about how you interact with it. Anytime I have an opportunity to interact with the artist, I study them. I study everything. I look at their social media. I look at their posts. I try to find hopes, dreams, aspirations that they have so that I can let them know that I see that and that I'm on their side. We all know the horror stories of artists coming into stations. The jocks don't know how to pronounce their name. They don't know the album just came out. Don't do that. That's not good to create relationships with the artist. I also try to really talk to the manager as well. Usually for the new artists, they're younger. And again, younger artists, you have to understand going in, radio's not relevant to them because that's what they're being taught. That's the programming that radio to them doesn't matter because we're not putting any money into their pocket. They're making money from their streams, they're making money from their concert tickets, etc. So one of my goals when I work with the artists is I say, hey, I know you're in town, you're doing this and that. I want to make sure that I can get you at least 100 people on your database. That's very valuable because they can turn that into money. They can market to those people. So I'm not thinking about what I want. Yeah, I'm going to get the drops that I need or this or that, but I'm really starting at the point of what can I give them? I want to give them real value. And when they're local or when they have a special connection or when I find that they really do want to partner in radio, then I'm going to double down. And so that's when it comes to artists, very important because the main thing for young people on radio, they want access. They want perspective. They want authenticity. So to have all that, just put in the work, be intentional about it, and I think you'll have some success. The other thing, think about the unique experiences, like the stuff that Virgin just played right here, amazing, amazing. All those experiences are amazing, and they're very important. The memories stick a last time. The images for your brand are so powerful. Here's some of the things. One of the things when an artist visits my station, when I do an event, I always make limited edition special posters here. So you might have seen these if you have a theater in the town, like we have the Fillmore, and they do artist posters when they come. So I create posters. They have a date on it. They have the location, and they have a vision that's unique to us. It's not just the album art. We look at everything and we say, this is role model visiting our station in March. What does it need to look like? And we want to add something that's different. So we have the IRL in there. We just started that this year, just an in real life experience. And again, as you know, role model today he's getting a lot bigger, a lot faster. I think I seen an ad date for May 20th coming up. But we heard about him opening up for Gracie Abrams. We heard about him from the people who told us, the listeners that told me about Gracie, they start telling me about role model. And so again, that's just being in tune with your audience, very important. Here's a letter that we did for our Taylor Swift Eras experience. And the reason why I show this is because the team, they crafted the welcome letter with all the titles from her Eras songs. And so this is somebody shows up to the event, they get a welcome pack, they get their pass, they get to put the pass on, they get a little letter, and they get to read it, and they get to be like, wow, this station is me. And that's the goal. I need them to know that I live where you live, I feel what you feel. Again, why do I want that? I want connection. I want it like I need to breathe. It has to be that serious, and you got to continue to surround yourself with those people that have the passion. And I'm always searching for that. That's another thing that I'm always doing. I'm looking for any spark that I can see, any comment that I hear that sounds unique and on the right path. I'm like, this person knows what they're doing. I'm going to pay more attention. We made 2 murals. They're 15 feet tall. They're 20 feet long. Each one of these panels is a different era album. There's Easter eggs in every one of these pictures, the diamond rings, the guitars, the clocks. And these images, they mean a lot to the Taylor Swift fans. It's stuck. It didn't go to the next one. Oh, there it goes. And so again, I don't want just to put Taylor Swift up there. They go to the mural. They took a picture in front of it, but then they're taking a picture of the mural, and then they're analyzing it, and they're going on social media and going, oh, I found this, I found this. The other people come, well, I found this. And again, just trying to create a conversation around a piece that's unique to the radio station. I don't really need credit for it. I just want to be the place that they come to get it. My music philosophy. It goes beyond the data. So, you know, at the end of the day, what I tell myself and I tell everyone who will listen is, I can't program great music radio from one-page source data. I don't care how good the research is. I don't like it. I don't believe in it. I have to have multiple sources, and part of those sources have to be real life. There's not an easy answer to a hard question. You got to put the work if you want it to be great. One of the things, a secret weapon that I try to do is I find my people on social media. I follow them, I listen, I watch them, I read their comments, I watch their stories, I see what songs they're putting behind the stories. I qualify these listeners in my head just based upon the lifestyle. Is this the listener that I need and I want to wow? If so, I'm listening to them. I'm watching for coincidences. I see somebody in the South Bay posting a song I'm not playing yet, in the North Bay not posting, maybe a different age group, maybe it's something. I'm like, wow, again, that's rare. I'm always looking for rare. When you find gold, believe it. And the last thing that I like to do is my personality development. And with my jocks, I really just work with them to not chase what they think the people want to hear. That's what we used to do. Look at the headlines. Oh, I think people want to know about this. I'm going to talk about it. Instead, what I try to encourage them to do is tell me 3 things that you know that people need to hear, things that you saw, things that you think, and we talk about that before the show. Hey, I saw this, and okay, well, tell me more about what you think about that. I don't let them just give me what they saw. I ask them, how did it make you feel? What type of action might go along with it, as we try to craft just a few unique things for each day. And it's important because, as Nick talked about earlier, that what goes between the record is our only unique asset. So we have to spend time and thought as we try to curate those messages. And, you know, and then wrap it around your brand, which for me, it's fun. It has to be fun. It has to be upbeat. Everything that we do is fun and upbeat. And when they want that, I want them to think of us and I want them to hit the button. Thank you.
Thank you, Jazzy. Brilliant. Come and take a seat. Are you going to hand out stickers as well? It's been a while since I've seen a radio station sticker, so I'm quite excited. If I could have one, that would be lovely. Something you said there, which was great, which I wrote down. This station is me. This station is me, which is really, really nice. Sarah, who is top 44? Is top 40 for 18-year-olds or 30-year-olds, or does age not matter? Is it just a state of mind? I like hit songs. I like fun. This is the station for me. This station is me.
Yes, exactly. I think
Okay.
that's what it is. I think it's the aspiration. It is everything you said. It's the 18-year-old, it's the 12-year-old, it's the 36-year-old, and their kid in the car. It's all of those things.
And the reason for going into schools, just to be clear for you, Jazzy, and I know you do some of that stuff with Virgin as well, is to give those listeners a radio habit, so they're gonna be our listeners of the future as well, or are you not even thinking about that? It's just
Well, what I want to do is I want to expose them to the radio. If they're not already aware of it, I basically want to create a first impression. That's my goal. I want to create the first impression or build on something that they're already leaning into. Because there's some people we go there, they don't really know what radio does and is. And there's other people, they've been in the backseat of their car for 4 years, 5 years with their mom. So yeah, for my goal is to create a good impression so that they will try us out.
Nick, you said, we were talking earlier before, and I think I feel like radio fits into this as well. We were talking about records and how kids are getting into records and buying records. And like, I think there's a preconceived notion for us that things are old. Radio's old, records are old, this is old. But it's all new to kids. So I think you're getting in there and you're making them aware of something, and they don't have they don't go, well, that's old. That's not their first thought. Their first thought, that's cool. These guys came into my school and they did this, and this brand looks neat, and they're playing a song I like, and they may not go home and listen that day, but it's just starting that there.
And I think that point you made about how they'll tell their friends and they tell their family and they tell someone else, and it's a real organic growth of getting your brand out there. And it's not a new idea necessarily to go into schools, and many people have done radio station schools tours, but what you're saying is it's still effective in 2025, which is really interesting to listen to. Go on.
I had an observation that the younger people right now that I'm meeting that are 10, 11, 12, 13, I'm meeting a lot of them that will tell me radio is much better than Spotify. Radio is much better than Pandora or other places because guess what? It is. It's curated by hand. When you heard me talk here, you've seen the kind of thought and intention that goes into it. That algorithms can't do that yet. They can't do that. They can't anticipate that. And that's why we now have a level playing field. We haven't had a level playing field in 15 years because we've been the old media to the millennials. We've been the old medium to even some of the older Gen Zs. But these Generation Alphas and all these guys, everything's even. Spotify is old. Pandora's old. Radio is whatever. So I just want to put that out there. We have an opportunity to be great and to stand out.
Let's talk a little bit about. Oh yes, there's at least one person who agrees with you there. Yeah. We all agree with you, or many of us do. You mentioned music. Let's talk a little bit about music. It seems to me that top 40 radio and top 40 formats have started to lean a little bit more on older songs as well. So what's that kind of balance that you can strike between we're the place that plays the hits and these are the hottest songs right now, and also drop in a TLC record? You know, talk to us about that. Do you want to go, Jazzy, on that one?
Sure. To me, it's about playing the hottest records, but you're curating a mood. You're curating a mood. Each 15 minutes, I wanted to play songs they love. I want to expose them to a song that we know they will love. And then I also, if needed, again, it's not really like, I think, we have a formula, but just if I need a TLC and it's there, I know that the kids look at it, they love it, it's relevant in their life. And a lot of the old songs that are, you might hear, I play about 4 golds per hour. And to me, I use those as the pressure relief for those listeners who listen a long time and just I want wow moments in my playlist, and I think that's an easy way to provide them.
And for older listeners, those are the moments where they go, oh, yeah, something I know a little bit more. They still like the mood, but they've got the familiarity. The balance of old to new for Virgin, I'm not going to go into categories and rotations for you. Don't worry about that. Although I do know that in Toronto, Pink Pony Club was played 84 times on Virgin Radio Toronto last week.
That's
so there
about
you
right.
go, which was very good. Compared to Doce Anxiety for you was played 114 times. That was your hottest song in the last 7 days. So, you know, I've done my research. Tell me about the music from your perspective.
I think it's a lot of what Jazzy said. I feel like, that gold music comes in and it comes out, and sometimes it's hotter because the new music cycle maybe isn't as strong or it doesn't have as much diversity in it, and there's not as much sort of, different sounds. So you go back to some of that gold, and then it comes out after a while. We were chatting earlier about I think it can't be the same. If the station sounds the same today as it sounded a year ago, and you've got exactly the same amount of gold and the same amount of currents and the same sort of structure of types, that's a problem because it changes all the time.
And I'm a big fan of breaking the pattern of predictability of your music by dropping one of those oh wow songs, from the 90s or 2000s, even on your top 40 station. A little bit about music discovery and TikTok. You mentioned lots of different reference points for data. Is that something you look at? Do you look at what's going on there? Do you look at Shazam? All that kind of stuff?
I look at everything. Everything that I can get my hands on, I look at it, I consume it, I digest it, and I have a master sheet where I have all my thoughts about the music. I got some research there. I got some algorithmic research that I look at that I'm experimenting with. I have some... I go to YouTube, I go to Spotify chart, I go to TikTok, and I do it all. And then after I digest it, I make my own note across on the page to, make sure that I'm not leaning one way or the other too heavily.
So multiple sources for you. Mentioning TikTok, Sarah, do you think that the fact that TikTok exists now for Gen Zs particularly has changed the way that radio stations pace their content? Because we're so used to now just flicking away with, you give stuff 2 seconds and you're moving on to the next bit of content. Has that fed through to how the bits in between the records that we talked about before are shaped? So this generation they want to get to the funny faster. They want the punch quicker. Is that something that's talked about with your programming team?
Absolutely. And I think, and again, back to things change all the time. And so I think back to the structural piece, like we should be looking at the clocks and the way they're set up and how things are spaced out and how we execute a break today versus how we did it before for those reasons. And 6 months from now, that's going to change again and there's going to be something else. And so I think being on top of all of that, Jazzy, you had a lot of that in your presentation today, is the biggest takeaway and the most important thing, especially for Top 40.
You mentioned clocks and the clock setup. Let's talk about the thing that we love to talk about, which is commercial breaks, right? They're the peas in the meal that you push around the plates somewhere, but eventually you've got to eat them, right? When I listen to many North American stations, let's say, it feels like those ad breaks are really, really long. And I know we need to, it's a business. We need to pay the bills in commercial radio and all that kind of stuff. But it feels like if you're targeting people who are used to getting things very, very quickly and the thing they want, they're not going to hang around as much. What's the current thinking that you have around durations and breaks and how to split them up? Is it one big, long 8-minute thing, or what's your thinking on that, Jazzy? Be nice.
I don't have control of that, but I do have thoughts. For my morning show, we run 3 breaks, 3.5 minutes. I kind of like it because we're always giving someone to look forward to something, and it's only 3 minutes away. So for the morning show, it works really well. During the day, the stop sets are 5 minutes. That's about the limit. And I'm lucky that I don't have more than 5, but that's what I run. I think the commercials, we always have to understand that that's the price that the listeners are paying. And so that's why our value needs to be high, because they're paying a high price. And when we keep that in mind and you understand that and you don't confuse our promos or our station identifiers as true content that's a value for people's time, overall, you might be able to build your ledger towards the positive a little bit more. Because again, us programmers, you know that we spend a lot of time writing a promo, and to us, it's content. To the listener, it's a commercial.
Yeah. Okay. Sarah.
It's definitely the thing that keeps me up at night because
Okay.
we have a lot of conversations about it, and I don't know that there is again a perfect formula. Somebody said yesterday, an ad break shouldn't be longer than a song, and I'm like, I think that's stuck in my head now, and I feel like that might be the key, And if you're top 40, songs are 2.5 or 3 minutes long, and so max, and so I wonder if there's something to that. It is the price you pay. There should be value for the advertiser. How we do all of that, I think, is probably the biggest thing that we need to figure out and come up with a plan. And again, we'll probably revisit that plan at some point. But I think that is commutes in different cities are different lengths, and we have Virgins in Toronto and we have Virgins in Windsor, and the commute might be 10 minutes for somebody, an hour and a half for somebody else. But if your commute is the same time every day and it's 10 or 15 minutes long, you could potentially get one song and 5 or 6 minutes of commercials, and that is not great value.
We've got about 6 minutes to go. If you've got a question, stand by. I got a couple more myself. Morning shows, are they still the kind of go-to moment for younger people? Are we creating enough kind of, I gotta listen, unmissable, they're funny, they're great? Are we doing that enough? Do we need to take a few more risks, be a bit bolder? Are we a bit safe? Because the young people I engage with, they're not as safe as some of the content I hear on the morning show, right? So talk to me about that. Should you push the boat out a little bit on your Big Bay mornings?
Well, yes, you always should push it, but you also define your show. So my Big Bay Mornings is a program for a active adult who doesn't want to be challenged by extremes. That's my brand that I want to promote.
Say that again. That was really interesting.
An active adult who doesn't want to be challenged by extremes, and I mean real extremes. So, so we have that brand, and so the people that appeals to, we stick to it. And they have lots of edges. I'm not saying they're not edgy; they're very edgy. But it's not. We're not edgy to be edgy.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
And they're very popular. So I think that morning shows do need to do everything that they can to get and keep attention and loyalty.
Any thoughts on that? You said something really interesting earlier about building community, and it felt like you've got like a club where the listeners feel part of the gang of the morning shows and the radio stations as a whole. So, be a bit bolder, or got it about right at the moment?
I think there's a couple of things there. Yes, being part of the community is everything. And I feel like we, again, with so many Virgin shows across the country, it really isn't the same everywhere. And that's why I think, what we need to do in Toronto and how we connect with the Toronto community and having a vibrant and young and bold and out there and, newer morning show is a different recipe than what we might have in a market like London, Ontario, or Kitchener, Ontario, which is just a different style. And I think your audience potential, your ratings measurement, all of that plays into what's the right recipe for your show on that station. And what Jazzy said, I think, is the most important piece. Once you've set the expectation for the listener, delivering on that every time the mic is open.
Absolutely. Okay, 5 minutes to go. Questions from the audience. We have a microphone and lots of questions. Great. If you could tell us who you are and where you're from, that would be even better.
Hi, good morning. I'm Janice from Kingston, Jamaica. I actually work with Fame 95 FM. I'm the programs manager for the station and an announcer on the station as well. And we do appeal to the 18 to 35, which is a youth market. My question to you is, how do you balance, because when you're in charge and the persons who make the decisions are also getting older and their mindsets are changing and their interests are changing, and outside of connecting with young people and finding and like investigating what's happening on the TikTok and what's going on, and how do you keep connected with the youth market when your own ideas are changing and your own interests are changing as well?
For me, my interest is the listeners. I don't have personal interest. My interest is to wow the listener, to know the listener. I know that I may not be the same for everybody, but that's how I do it. I love what I do. I love the community that I serve. And so to do that, I invest fully into that.
Yeah, good
Over
one.
here.
Okay.
Over here.
Let's do another one.
Hi, Matt from White Oaks Communications. I was just curious about the commercial break lengths that you were talking about, how much you would weigh or consider the streaming length of commercial breaks too for the simulcast of the broadcast.
I mean, I would say that I think the benefit, and Jazz, you said this earlier when we were talking about everything is old for young people right now, right? So that is very true. I think people are used to ads again. There was a time a few years ago where you could have a totally interruption-free experience, and I don't think that's the case right now. So the question is, in each one of these audiences that you're going after, what's their threshold? Where's the tolerance level? And I don't have a perfect answer to that, but I do think, you know, some streaming services, I think as people have maybe moved away from paid everything and you start to see little bits of commercials back in, there's probably more ad tolerance today. But in a perfect world, that ad is catered to the person listening, and the creative is good, and it's well produced, and it's all of those things, and it's not, you know, in the middle of 10 minutes of it.
Yeah, finding that tolerance
There you
level.
come back here at the back of the house.
Okay, great.
Hi, my name is Mara, and I'm a broadcasting student at Niagara College. My question for you guys is, do you think radio has the opportunity to be a music tastemaker, or will it always be reacting to tastemakers on like TikTok and in the broader social sphere?
Oh, that's a great question.
How good is that? That's a great question.
We've got 1 minute, 15 seconds to deal with the biggest question of our time. Oh my God. You have to come back next year for that. Quickly on that.
Go ahead.
You sure? I bet talk a lot.
Okay. Yes, I do. I actually think because everybody is different in where they discover music, and when new music comes out, the first place you hear that and the amount you listen, it's not a guarantee. I think there's a million different places, and I don't think it's the number one place any longer. But I do believe it can still be a tastemaker and should be a tastemaker.
We don't own the position, but we're a spoke on the wheel. And depending on the individual and your commitment will determine how big of a spoke that you are and how much weight you carry. Can't do it by yourself because, again, the audience isn't as big as it used to be, but the people here, again, if we get the right audience, they can talk a lot. So they hear a great song, they tell everyone where they heard it, you're making an influence.
It's been a fascinating conversation.
One more, Nick. One more.
What? No, I want to finish bang on time. I'm a radio person. Oh my God. The stage manager will shout at me. Listen, it's been a really, really good conversation. I'm very, very appreciative, as we all are, you sharing all your thoughts. Please give it up for Sarah and for Jazzy. Thank you.